For Devon Fair, this is what his whole career has led to. This is the day, the very first day, he could lay claim to the One-Up Superstar Series Championship. But to do that, he and the other 41 drivers in this race are going to have to contest 99 laps around the treacherous Rockingham Speedway in North Carolina. This 1 mile abrasive high-speed oval is going to test even the strongest of wills, and this could be one of the toughest places to possibly go to lock up a championship. But Devon Fair has that opportunity today. We'll see if he can pull it off after 99 laps at the Rock. And alongside me to bring you this penultimate race of the 2023 season is Ryan Griffin once again. And I pretty much laid it out. Devon Fair, this is his first chance to lay his hands on the championship trophy. He just has to beat Dillon Young and Roberto Crown Jr. today, and he can say it's all his.
It's not going to be without a test, though. You know, Rockingham is not a pushover of a racetrack. It's not a track you can just come in and think you're going to be okay and have a nice smooth ride. Rockingham is a tough track. It's tough on your car. It's tough on your competition. So it's not necessarily going to be a walk in the park. It should, for Fair today, he's still got to do. But again, the way this team's performed the last couple of weeks, we could be seeing history here too. He could potentially lock up the championship by winning possibly 4 straight races, which would be an amazing feat, but quite honestly a great way to clinch the title as well.
And not only is this track demanding on yourself, your car, your competition, it is demanding on your tires. That is going to be a key focus for the duration of this race. Tire wear is going to be major in this race tonight, and we're going to see after 99 laps who's going to hold on the best to take victory. As we can now look at the starting lineup in the penultimate race of his career, Jared Polansky takes pole position. Could he get his last win perhaps here at the Rockingham Speedway? We've seen him perform great at this track before. Could he pull off a big win, the 10th of his career? J.D. Martin lines up alongside him in second. Emma Carter, the regular season champions, had a wretched playoffs. Hopefully she can right the ship starting from third. And then right alongside her is Devon Fair in fourth. He knows what he has to do, and this could be a golden opportunity for him to lock up the championship because Homestead's a big wild card. Rockingham is as well, but if he can stay up there in that 4th position, or maybe even better, like you said, get that 4th win on a row, he could seal that championship, like you said. But as another thing you said, this track is not easy at all. These guys are going to have their work cut out for them for 99 laps here today. Getting set for what could be a historic day here at the Rock. Jared Polansky, J.D. Martin on the front row, taking us into the restart zone. The green flag in the air. We're underway for 99 laps at Rockingham. Martin got the better launch off the line, but I don't think he's going to exit turn 2 with the lead because that inside line is very powerful around this place.
Yeah, the inside of Rockingham is the preferred lane if you can hang it down there, and we've seen a lot of passes made down here at this track, and the other thing is, though, we have to keep an eye on is the inside does tend to wear your tires more when you use it, so we'll have to keep an eye. Again, tire wear is going to pretty much be the theme of the race today, and so far Polansky looks to be in the best shape as he is pretty much from the pole has lucked out to a little bit of a gap over Emma Carter in the 70, and Denoto has moved into 3rd behind her, so it's a Toyota 1-2-3 at the moment.
And followed up by the Dodge of Bobo Jones, who is now in 4th place. Devon Fair, critically, he got to the inside line pretty early, and he's now in the 5th position. He's doing what he needs to do so far. Granted, it's only lap 3, but if he can hang out right around there, he doesn't have to win this race to win the championship. I'm sure he'd like to, but he can hang out right there for the rest of the day to win the championship. But up front, it is Polansky in the lead, trying to get that one last win of his career.
Yeah, but you mentioned with Fair, the team obviously has the big picture today that they're racing for. They're racing to try to clinch this championship a race early. But there is the history that's on the line, too, and I'm sure that in some part of their minds, in some part of their collective as a team, they know they got a chance at possibly making history, and if the opportunity does present itself, they're going to go for it. Right now, Fair, unfortunately, he is on the top side. He had J.D. Martin look to his inside, so trying to see if he can hold off Martin here for that 5th position. Looks like he's going to off a 2. But critically, as you said, he is ahead of the 2 guys that he needs to be ahead of in order to clinch the title today.
Yeah, the highest of those would be Roberto Crown Jr., who's outside the top 10 at the moment. Dillon Young going backwards in a hurry. But up at the front, all smooth sailing for the Toyota Brigade. It's Polanski, Carter, and Donota, 1, 2, 3. And Emma Carter has the fastest lap so far of a 24 flat. That gets her a bonus point for the time being. And at this point in the season, with how her playoffs have gone, she'll take any points she can get just to finish ahead of anybody in this championship fight, because for Emma Carter, her championship hopes are gone. But hey, she can still win a race, or win this race, and maybe next week at Homestead too, end the season on a high note.
When we talk about season, talk about obviously fair leading chance to clinch the title today, I'm more struck right now the fact that the manufacturer, Toyota, right now 1, 2, 3 in this race, in a race where one of their drivers, or one of the drivers in their camp, could clinch the championship today, which would be the 3rd straight for the manufacturer. Obviously, Christian Vargas winning the previous 2 titles. So, yeah, I mean, if you're the manufacturer, if you're Toyota, you're looking at this like this could not be any better way to start this race, to have, four of the top 5 right now be your manufacturer, let alone the top 3, and the fact that your main guy, one of your main guys, is looking at possibly clinching the driver's title today. So, I mean, if you're Toyota, you're loving what you're seeing right now 9 laps into this race, as Carter looks like she's going to look to the inside of Polanski out of 4, but Polanski able to hold her off.
That's one thing we're going to need to be aware of this entire race. While, yes, the inside line is the preferred line around here, you can do some defending on the top of the racetrack. We saw Devon Fair do it against J.D. Martin, and we just saw Polanski do it against Carter. You can defend from the top lane. We saw it in the truck race as well, but it's going to be important to keep this lead of the race, because we saw it's not the easiest thing in the world to make passes, especially for the lead, and especially after the field strung itself out. But we're 11 laps into this race. Polanski's got a pretty big lead, and we're not supposed to play favorites here in the boot, but I really want to see this 18 get one last win before he hangs it up.
Yeah, it's any driver that, I guess you'd say, no matter what the racing series, any driver will tell you, or somebody that runs with a driver that is in their final season, there's a bit of the sentimental that you want to see that driver win in their final season, go out basically on top. If you can't win the championship, just go out, try to see if you win the final race, But yeah, I'm with you in that retrospect. It would be neat to see Polanski win in either this race here today or Homestead next week, to put period on his.
Hate to interrupt. We've got one stopped on track, and it's our defending champ, Christian Vargas. He gets pulled to a stop on the side of the track, and this could be Vargas's day. Well, it definitely is Vargas's day, throwing it down the drain. My question is he able to get back onto the racetrack with whatever's afflicting his car?
And again, the worry here is Vargas being, again, he is the owner of the 51 that is currently looking at possibly clinching the championship today. Does this concern the 51 team now with the team car having issues?
I'm sure they've let Devon Fair know what's happened to Christian Vargas, and that this is not going Vargas's way. He was already out of the championship hunt going into this race. He was 13th going into this race. He's probably going to fall down to 15th and last of the playoff contenders, and what a fall from grace that would be for the 2-time defending champion to finish 15th at the end of 2023. But we still have Homestead to go, and a lot can happen there. But it's going to be an uphill battle for Vargas to get out of the points basement. But going back to what we were saying about Polanski, he does have a win this season. He won back at Daytona to end the regular season, but I'm sure he'd love to get one on a track where he can control more of his own destiny.
That is true, and I have noticed too that the battle for the lead did tighten up there for a little bit among these top 3, and Vargas looks like he is going to return to the track, so whatever happened was not terminal, so he will be able to continue on, granted now several laps down after that issue. But again, the fear comes in if you're the 51 team. You know, the team car just had this problem that effectively ended Vargas's race today as he tries to blend back here easy with the group pack there. Just gotta be careful. I would assume that the two-time defending Cup champion so the two-time defending Superstar champ would know how to merge back into the field, but
looks like he's able to.
You can never know.
Yeah, but one thing to note about that 54 car now, he's going to be the fastest car on track because he's got 18 lot fresher tires now than the rest of the field, and that is going to make a big difference, and he might be able to get one of his laps back because of it. We're looking now at Roberto Crown Jr. He currently runs 12th. He's the highest running driver right now that can deny Devon Fair the championship, but he's not going to be able to do it from that position. He needs to go up and win this race and hope for a calamitous issue for the 51.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it's kind of a tall order if you're Crown or Young. You know, the tall order of what the 51 team has laid down the last couple of weeks, and now you basically put them in this box here today where you have to get ahead of them. You have to go out there and you have to basically outdo them with the way they've run the last couple of weeks. It's like, it's a tall order. It's a tall task, but you just got to take it one lap at a time, one position at a time, and go from there. And Crown, while the run is respectable, 12th place, it would be enough right now with Fair running in the 6th position at the current moment.
But back in the lead group, it continues to be Polanski. He's led the opening 20 laps so far, but we've seen a battle side by side for a moment between the teammates Carter and Donato for a second spot. And while they're doing that, Jared Polanski's checking out to a near 6/10 lead over Emma Carter and a full seconds gap back to Sam Donato. So I think they've realized that they need to focus on chasing down the leader, and they're settled back into a single file formation.
All right, I just want to bring this up because it's just kind of neat to see this, but you know, a couple of weeks ago, Bobo Jones had that great run at North Wilkesboro and the great battle with Devon Fair. Unfortunately, he didn't come out on the end that he wanted to be on in that battle. But Jones right now running P4 and early on here at the Rock and trying to build momentum possibly going into next season. And this is a great way to kind of build momentum and get your confidence up going into next season.
And especially after the disappointing end to his day at Texas last week. He was involved in one of the big crashes there. So he would love to finish this year on a high note, especially as he moves on to Venta Motorsport for next year. That is going to be a big opportunity for him to go win races again, because he has not won since Bristol back in 2020. So it's been a very long time for Bobo Jones since he's been to victory lane. I would not be surprised if he was the breakout star of that team at Venta Motorsport in 2024. He's got the talent to do it.
Well, meanwhile, up the front, it continues to be the Toyota trio, Polanski, Carter, and Donato. Jones, as we mentioned, runs 4th. Martin is 5th, and Fair, again, continues to run pretty much where he needs to in that 6th position. So I guess at this point, it's just playing the waiting game here at Rockingham, again, because of the way tire wear is at this racetrack. Doesn't matter what the series, the tire wear is just uniform when it comes to this track. We're going to have to see how this run goes, who's got their cars set up as the tires wear to run better on worn tires, whose car is not that great or worse off on worn tires, and see if we start to see maybe some comers and goers a little bit more as we go through the tire run.
And who jumps on the pit lane first? That's going to be key as well, because an undercut here is one of the most powerful of the season compared to other places. If you get to pit lane first here, you're going to be in a great position. But it comes at a cost, because you're going to go 2 laps down making that pit stop. So if the caution comes out in the middle of the pit cycle, it's really going to catch you out. But it's that risk you have to take if you're going to outsmart your competition here at Rockingham.
The other thing that's going to be interesting to watch, too, with the undercut is, obviously, you get the fresher tires earlier, but then if somebody who has fresher tires can catch you later on in that run. So in the event we don't have a caution and say it goes green all the way, you're going to be at a detriment at the end of the run, and how much of that you lose versus how much you gain from getting those tires early.
Looking back a little bit, we see Bobo Jones has lost a couple positions to Jeffrey Finguy and JD Martin, who are now 5th and 4th, respectively. Jeffrey Finguy is a bit of an interesting story because he started 13th today, and keep in mind, the last 2 races, Devon Fair won by starting in 13th. I'm not sure if the unluckiness has gone away from that as of late, but Jeffrey Finguy has gained 8 positions so far in the opening 30 laps. He's up to the top 5 now.
Well, remember what I was just saying about, some guys may have their cars set up to run better as the run goes. Looks to me like that 92 may be in that sort of situation where their car is better as the run goes, because obviously they're in the top 5 now here on lap 30 where, as you said, they started 13th. So that could be a big reason for it. I notice we're looking here at Lane Sanders. Sanders is another one I think that started. I have to double check here to see exactly where he started. I think there's another one
started 8th, running 9th, but I think that car is coming to him a little bit. And this is a track that Lane Sanders really likes. It's statistically his best track on the circuit. It's where he got his first career win, and it's where he got pole position last year before getting involved in a crash midway through the race. So he does like it at Rockingham, and he's currently holding on to 9th place. A strong run for the 87 team to close out 2023.
But so far, you're not missing too much at the front. We're just kind of cycling through the front runners as the run goes here and seeing who's going to see if there's any significant changes in this top 10. As we've already mentioned, Finguy.
Well, one thing I noticed is JD Martin has passed Sam Denota to break up the Toyotas up at the front. So Martin now runs in 3rd place. Could he have a car that's more suited for the long run in this race? I think it's going to come... I think JD Martin's got some speed in that car because remember, he has not won yet this season and missed the playoffs in doing so. I think it would be a great opportunity for the 66 to get to victory lane today.
And Martin's another one that it seems like this season he's had some decent runs, but not that real, I guess you could say, breakout or dominating run that can result or net you a win. So as we continue to see Jeffrey Finguy work his way through the field as he battles Denota here for 4th, and I think he's going to get this position as well.
Well, Denota's going to hold on to it for now, but you're right. Finguy is all over the back of the 77 trying to get into 4th place. But J.D. Martin, he's closed the gap to it by about 2/10 on the last lap. We'll see what it is at the line here. But he is fast closing in on Emma Carter for 2nd place. I think the 66 is going to give Jared Polanski a run for his money later on in this race. Maybe if once strategy kicks in at around the midway point. So far anyway, JD Martin's putting in a solid performance, and I believe that he's going to get a good run out of this. Maybe not a win, but if he does get a win, it'd be great for Robbers Racing as a whole, considering Miles Mashburn is deep in the field today. But Martin's carrying the torch for Robbers Racing, it has to be said, and he's drawing a bead on Emma Carter, trying to get that 2nd spot away. Brilliant, brilliant stuff we're seeing now at Rockingham with JD Martin trying to get the lead. He's actually closed the gap quite considerably to Emma Carter and Jared Polanski. The 3 cars that used to be separated by a full second or more, now they're within half a second of each other. They're doing a great job at keeping the car under them, as we can report our first retirement of the race as JD Martin passes Carter for the 2nd spot. Carter's teammate Aaron Hall not so lucky. He falls out of the race with an engine failure earlier on. About 10 laps ago, we can report that it occurred. Tough break for Aaron Hall, who has already had a difficult season, but now it's just going from bad to worse. And it's honestly gone from bad to worse for the entire Carter Racing System team. We've had Emma Carter fall to 3rd. Sam Denota now lost 4th to Jeffrey Finguy. And we also have Aaron Hall falling out of the race. So that's just a difficult situation for everybody involved. But so far, anyway, it looks as though Martin's got a good car. We know that. And he closed the gap by about half on that last lap alone. So it's not like Polanski's got a bad car. It's just that J.D. Martin, rather, has got a really good one under the hood of that 66, and he is charging after the 18. And Martin continues to hound the 18 for the race lead. It's going to be really interesting, a battle between these two for the race lead. And JD is doing whatever he can to win this race for Chevrolet, for Roberts Racing, and for himself to try and become best of the rest. He's going to try and make a move now underneath the 18 of Polanski. They dive it off into turn one side by side. Is Martin going to get the lead? It doesn't look like it because Polanski gets a great run through 1 and 2. He's able to get the lead back again. But this battle keeps raging on, and Jeffrey Finguy is gaining on this group as well. We've got 4 cars under a blanket now for the lead. Martin backs off, tries to save his stuff a little bit. Polanski continues to lead out front. But these 4 are giving us an incredible performance here at the Rock. Jeffrey Finguy is actually close to the back of Emma Carter and might be able to make a pass on her for 3rd. So these 4 cars are doing whatever they possibly can to put in a solid performance in this race, as it looks like we've had trouble on the racetrack. Nick Ortiz he's out of the race. Miles Mashburn with damage, and the caution is out for the first time here on lap number 44 for looks like an incident between Miles Mashburn and Nick Ortiz to bring out the caution flag. And this is going to bring everybody to pit road, because now these tires are 45 laps old, and that is not going to do him any favor. Staying out here would be a death sentence. So now we are going to see everybody peel off and make the left-hand turn on the pit road, led by Jared Polanski, J.D. Martin, Emma Carter, Jeffrey Finguy. Of course, Christian Vargas stays out because he's a lap down. He's actually 5 laps down. But Nick Ortiz, a tire failure on the 91. So that just goes to show you the tires do matter here, and it's just a really unfortunate break for Nick Ortiz. That's going to put an end to his hopes for a championship, of course, but he just wanted to end this season on a high note, and now it's all for naught. As we now pull into our pit lane cam, we can take a look now at the pit stops while they're happening. Jared Polanski looks like he's going to get 4 fresh tires on that 18 machine, and it looks as though he makes it. Oh, and they make contact! James Ellison and J.D. Martin make contact as they exit the pits. That's going to be a big damage repair for possibly the 1 and maybe the 66 as well. I hope that doesn't impact J.D. Martin too much, because he was having a really good run up to this point. So it looks like Ortiz was already having his tire issue, and Miles Mashburn just didn't. Oh, Ortiz came up the track. That's the problem. He went up the track, got into Mashburn had nowhere to go, plowed into the back of the 91, and that's going to effectively ruin the 72's afternoon and put an end to the 91's.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, Ortiz had the issue, but to have the issue right at that moment when Mashburn, the poor innocent soul, that just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
So we're going to take you back to where Ortiz had his tire failure. He was running in about 8th position when it happened, and he just cuts it going into the corner. I'm not sure if this was a wear issue or if he ran over something, but regardless, this was an issue that really hurt the 91 because he had just passed the pit entry when he had his tire go down.
And Ortiz also was trying to do the right thing, stay below the racetrack, below on the apron, and just when he got to turn 3, he popped a little bit onto the racetrack, and that was just enough for it to collect the 72.
And the 13 as well. He hit the 72 a little bit. Chris Lattimore in the 13 hit Mashburn a little bit. Shouldn't be too bad, though. Mashburn and Lattimore continuing on track. Nick Ortiz out of the race, as is Aaron Hall with a mechanical failure we reported on earlier. But we're going to bring you to the restart now with about 51 laps to go. Jared Polanski continues to lead. Christian Vargas is, of course, multiple laps down. and we're going to take you to this restart, which is going to come right at about the halfway point of today's race. Heading into the restart zone, green flag back out, and it looks like Vargas is actually going to get a good run on Polanski, and I heard some contact occur in the back, but it looks to be not unconsequential for everybody, whoever it was, and we can now make our way gradually back to the front of the field, where it looks as though Christian Vargas has gotten the jump on the rest of the competition, although keep in mind he is 4 laps down. Polanski now out front. Vargas is ahead of Polanski, but he is, of course, 4 laps down. Martins and Finguy, these two are the cars I feel that we're going to be able to challenge Polanski today, and now they're right behind him.
So yeah, now we're really going to see what the 66 and 91 truly have, because now they're right on the back bumper of the leader. Let's see what they actually... Let's see if these guys who we've been kind of counting their cars today, let's see what they've actually got with Polanski. As we can see Martin right
on.
See if he's going to make a nice little run on him.
Yeah, and diving it off into turn 1. We're going to see it. Martin keeps it behind the 18 for now. He doesn't want to burn it up too early. He wants to wait for the right opportunity to strike, but he needs to be careful because Jeffrey Finguy is there waiting to take the opportunity away if Martin can't do it himself.
Yeah, and but all three still under a blanket, and even you may not have as strong a car as the ones in front of him, but Donato's still hanging there. You know, you got Jones sitting there. Fair, again, we can't count out Fair. I know that team is thinking big picture, but you still can't count them out. Especially after last week in Texas, where they showed up again late in that race and stole away. So anybody could still steal this thing. We got still 40, a little more than about 45 laps to go in this race. So there's still a lot of time that something could happen, or somebody could surprise us.
One person who's not surprising us, though, is Jared Polanski. He is driving away from this field. He's now 3/4 of a second out in front. Of course, Vargas is ahead of him, but we have to reiterate, he is multiple laps down and not a factor for the race win. But they might come back to him later on in this race, and that could cause a lot of problems. Because I don't believe Vargas pitted under that caution. So he's got about 30-lap older tires than these. No, he had to have pitted under that caution. There's no way he got this big a lead on Polanski and Martin without fresh tires to help him.
Oh yeah, he more than likely had, because there's no way you could. Yeah, as you said, there's no way you could pull with that big a lead. We may have to check our notes here to see if he actually did pit or not. But meanwhile, at the front, Martin's going to try to make an attempt here out of 4. I think he might. He's got a little bit of a line here. Again, Polanski was able to hold off on the high side the last time he was challenged for the lead, but it's not going to be a challenge this time. Martin able to take the lead off turn 2. As Finguy is now going to try to follow him through and see if he can take over second.
Doesn't look like Finguy can fit in the same hole Martin did. It's now J.D. Martin through into the lead. First lead change of the afternoon on lap number 56. And Martin trying to run away with this one now. He's got a quarter-second lead over Jared Polanski, who still holds second. And Jeffrey Finguy, I feel like, is going to have something to say by the end of this. He's got a fast car. I think the 18 might be holding these guys up a bit because he might have burnt his stuff out too early on the run.
And again, we're still keeping an eye here on the 51 affair, sitting in the 6th position.
And Crown...
Running exactly...
Yeah, I had the report. Crown is in 15th. So he's doing what he needs. Fair's doing what he needs to do because Dillon Young's all the way back in 33rd. So he's got a lot of breathing space to work with. He's got about 8 positions on the 81, and he's got nearly the whole field to work with on Dillon Young. So he can just take his time, relax, don't push the issue too much, and these last 40 laps, just settle in.
These could be the last 40 laps to a championship if you're Devon Fair. But up front, we still got this dice for lead. Martin has pulled out a couple car lengths now on Polanski, as Polanski has now kind of fallen back into the clutches of Finguy in the 92. So we'll see if Finguy can get around and maybe make a challenge at Martin before this thing is over today.
but he's got to catch Martin first. And look at the lead JD has built. He's got a 0.6 of a second lead over Polanski and Finn Guy. Sam Denotto's up to 4th. Bobo Jones 5th. Devon Fair doing what he needs to do in 6th. Emma Carter has slipped to 7th in the shuffle on the restart. Patrick Smith, Bobo Jones' teammate, runs 8th. Duke Anzac making a welcome visit to the top 10 in 9th. And Braden Varga rounding out the top 10. These are some guys we have not talked about yet today, but they're putting in solid runs, and they're making a push into the top 10 in the second half of this race.
Yeah, I think, judging by the look of this, I think Polanski's car has fallen off in relation to Finn Guy and Martin. I think Finn Guy and Martin's cars are just a little bit better at this point. And Polanski, to his credit, is doing his best to try to hold off Finn Guy here, but I think it's going to be a matter of time before Finn Guy gets around him. And then the question's going to be, does Finn Guy have a good enough car to go up after Martin? Because Martin has pulled out to almost a 1.5-second lead on these two. So once he got out front, he's definitely been showing the full potential of what that 66 has in it today.
And here comes Finn Guy now to the inside of Polanski, trying to get the second spot away. Looks like he's able to get it. He got it at the line anyway, but Polanski's got such a good launch off the high side that he's able to clear Finn Guy once again. And all this is allowing J.D. Martin to get an even bigger lead out front. I think Finn Guy has the better car, but he's not. He might not get enough time to make gains. As now we look back at Anzac and Varga in their battle for 9th. Zayden Davidson right behind them in 11th. But Duke Anzac, this has been a good story all season. He's went off on his own, started his own team. It hasn't been easy to start 2023, but he's put in the work. He's gotten some solid runs, and he's going to hopefully have another one here today in 9th.
Yeah, but Ryan, a top 10 is good no matter what the circumstance. Obviously every driver doesn't start the weekend saying, hey, I want a top 10. You want to shoot for a W, but a top 10 is a good, strong weekend in the long run. As we continue to look again, here's Fair in a battle with Carter for that 6th position. Fair continues to hold it over Carter. And I do believe that Fair may be looking at the final 30 or so laps of this race and knowing what's at stake here. And he could very well be ending the day as the 2023 champion.
Meanwhile, up in front of him, we've got side-by-side Denotto and Jones battling it out for 4th. And they're putting on a good show. Denotto's got a good run on the high side to try and clear, but I think he's also won another car that's fallen off in the late stages. And Bobo Jones has saved a little bit because now Denotto falls to 5th, and he might lose a few more spots because we got a freight train forming behind Bobo Jones to try and shuffle Sam Denotto out of the top 10.
Which is kind of unfortunate because Denotto has pretty much been in the top 5 for much of this race. So to just see him in this spot now, basically possibly going to lose out on even a top 10 at this point it's kind of sad to see, honestly.
Yeah, he's fallen back to 7th now, and he's probably going to lose that spot to Patrick Smith. There might be a spot in front of Duke Anzac for him to slot back into. But look at this lead J.D. Martin has built while we were looking at the back half of the top 10. He's got a 2.5-second lead now over second place Polanski. I think that 92 is going to be furious with Jared Polanski if this is what costs him a win.
You see, I can understand what would be Finn Guy's frustration there, but at the same time, I do believe the 18 and 92 might be closer together than we think they are as far as their cars. I just think once Martin got out front, he's been able to show what that car has had in it, because it seems like once he got out front, obviously we can see visually he just checked out. So I think Martin's car was just better than what we were giving him credit for, and then once he got out front, he's out front. And Finn Guy, I think, is just that difficulty of trying to pass down low. Even though the down low is the preferred lane, you can, as you said at the very beginning of the broadcast, you can work the high lane here, and Polanski's been able to do that to defend that second position. And it's not as if he's aggressively blocking Finn Guy or having, it's not like they're making contact, blocking. It's, he's just holding his position as he has the right prerogative to do so.
But now I think Finn Guy is able to make the pass, and he does. Move Jeffrey Finn Guy up to 2nd. Now he has 25 laps to try and chase down J.D. Martin and erase that 3.3 second deficit. Will he be able to do it in that time? We're about to find out, aren't we? Because we're closing in on 25 laps to go, and J.D. Martin's got a massive lead, but can Jeffrey Finguy blow it out at the end?
Yeah, the question is going to be, and now that Finguy is clear of the traffic or the battle with Polanski, we'll see how they compare to each other and which car might be slightly faster. It looked like Finguy was able to cut about 2/10 out of it that previous lap, but we'll see and start comparing now to see who actually is quicker. Just because Finguy is clear and has all this racetrack in front of him does not necessarily mean he may be the quicker car. Although he did catch, it was only about a hundredth of a second that lap by.
Yeah,
so
half a tenth on that last go round.
So maybe again, I still think like once that 66 got out front and he was able to just go, they went. And I think really the best car is honestly I think the car that is out front at the moment in that 66.
Especially considering Finguy's only picking up half a tenth here, half a tenth there. That's not going to be enough to catch J.D. Martin at this rate.
Yeah, I think Martin just, again, he bided his time until he got around Polanski. Once he got around Polanski, he took advantage and said, see ya. And he hit the go button, and that may be all she wrote. Again, we still have 23 laps to go, so anything can happen, so...
Yep, and checking back in on the fastest lap. Actually, we got a tie for it now. Jared Polanski and Christian Vargas have set identical lap times at the top of the leaderboard. They're each going to get a point for that now and take it away from Emma Carter. But our focus isn't on 1 point. Our focus is on the battle for the win. And there we go. That's some more pace out of the 92. He gained 2/10 on that lap.
Yeah, it's down to 2.6 seconds, 2.65 if you want to get exact. Finguy is cutting a little bit at a time out. Again, with a little more than 20 to go, I think he needs to start getting a little more chunkage than what he's getting. But he is starting to cut into it somewhat.
And right now, we're looking at Devon Fair. He's made it up to the 5th position. He's right behind Bobo Jones for 4th. I think this crew's got to be telling him at this point, with 20 laps to go, you don't need to push the issue. You can let the 70 go if she's faster than you. You just bring the car home in one piece, in the top 10, and we're going to be champions. That's, I think, what he has to be being told right now.
Yeah, as much as I'm sure that crew and Fair himself would like that honor of winning 4 straight, it doesn't look like it's going to be in the cards, but obviously at this point, the bigger prize is what's... I'm going to say the bigger prize is what's on the line right now, and that prize, very well here with 18 laps to go, looks like it's going to be in his hands and that 51 team's hands.
Yeah, and while we were looking at Devon Fair, Jeffrey Finguy lost 4/10 on the lap before and then gained 2 of them back again. So this is going to be a nip and tuck for the rest of this race if the 92 is able to catch the 66 or not, because he cannot afford another lap like one he had a little bit ago where he lost 4/10.
And I think the biggest thing that could help Finguy, I noticed there was at least one car that I saw that Martin was catching.
Yeah, that's Vargas who jumped.
I was gonna say if Martin catches a lap car wrong or catches somebody that's trailing off wrong, that could also help Finguy too. But at the same time, I still think the 66 is better than the 92, and that big 3-second gap he built out now gives him this, I guess you could say, this gap to play with now, where he doesn't necessarily need to run hard. If Finguy really starts running into it, who knows? Martin may step it up a notch, and we may see that gap change again. So, I mean, at this point, Finguy just really has to go and see. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
He gained another 2/10 on that lap, so he's gained 2/10 the last 2 laps, and he's cut the gap down by about half a second. So Finguy is doing what he needs to do. I just don't know if it's going to be enough, because we're coming to 15 laps to go this time, and he needs to gain probably 3/10 a lap to catch him and still leave himself enough laps to get by the 66.
Yeah, as obviously we just wow, and he really cut a big chunk out of it that
Gained
lap
half a
by
second on
though.
that lap alone.
And I wonder if Martin may have got a little more held up by Vargas there. And again, as I was just saying, the car that was ahead of Martin, the lap car, could hinder him enough that Finguy can get a bigger gain. And again, the thing is with Finguy, and we've seen it already with the battle with him and Polanski, that he had a tough time passing Polanski, even though he was quicker. So we'll have to see if he catches Martin, how long is it going to take him to try to get by Martin?
Yeah, but you don't just take half a second out of a guy's lead if you don't have a fast car. And Jeffrey Finguy is proving that he's got a very fast car under him. We'll see what the gap is this time at the line. It was 1.8. It's down to 1.4. He just took another 0.4 out of that gap. I think this 92 is going to catch J.D. Martin by the end of this race. The question is, who's going to win it between those two?
And right now, Martin is not happy with that 54 of Vargas because that 54 is definitely holding him up. And Finguy is coming, and he's still coming. And he continues to gain. We'll check the interval here. He gained another 0.4 that lap. I think you're right. I think the 92 is definitely quicker now than the 66. It's just the question is going to be, is there enough time for him to... There's enough time for him to catch him. It's going to be enough... Is there enough time for him to get by him is the question.
I think that all depends on if J.D. Martin can get by Vargas in the 54. I'm sure Vargas wasn't planning on interfering this much in the battle for the win, but we have 11 laps to go now, and Jeffrey Finguy's got the gap under a second. This is going to be a real close battle by the checkered flag.
Yeah, it's interesting the way this day started. We were talking about Toyota possibly going 1, 2, 3, and here it is a battle between a Chevrolet and a Ford possibly for the win today. So, again, the things that you can change over the course of a race.
Absolutely.
Here you have it. Finguy cut down. Now half a second is the gap between him and Martin.
They're in the same shot now.
With 10 to go. So, Finguy's good. It obviously caught him. It's just a matter of, catching one thing, passing's another. Can he get around him, and will he be the one holding the trophy at the end of the day?
I think Martin's just really getting frustrated being held up behind this 54, and now Finguy's cut the gap down by another 10. I think he's starting to feel the effects of the dirty air behind these two. So now it's just a battle of sheer will between Martin and Finguy in this race for the win, as we now have less than 10 to go.
Well, Finguy's going to get to Martin's bumper here, and Martin's going to try to have a look here on Vargas to see if he can get to the inside, but he's going to get slowed up. Finguy is on his bumper now. You try to have a look possibly into turn one. Nope. Martin's going to shut the door on him.
Yeah, but this is a much better battle for the win than we were going to have about 10, 15 laps ago. This is great. And Jeffrey Finguy is all over the back of J.D. Martin, and he makes the move to the inside. Jeffrey Finguy down the inside towards the start-finish line. It's going to be a drag race, but J.D. Martin has lost the lead to Jeffrey Finguy, now with 6 laps to go.
And with 6 to go, it is the third lead change of the day as Finguy takes the top spot. But Martin is not going to give up on that top side.
And why would he? He's going for his first win of the season, but I think that 92's just got that little bit of a better car, and he's out in front for good now.
Well, now the question is, too, because we see Vargas is still ahead, so these two are going to have to negotiate Vargas as well. So Finguy's got to be careful if he catches that 54 to not do what Martin just did.
Yeah, and while these two were battling, Vargas was able to get a bigger lead again. So will they catch him by the end of this race? Because now we're coming to 5 laps to go, and the outcome of this race is still being left into question.
Well, 5 to go, and Martin is still within 0.2 of Finguy, so it's not completely Finguy's yet, although I believe Finguy has the quicker car than Martin now, as we've clearly seen. But we'll have to see. I mean, there's still the 54 ahead, granted. He does have, as you said, a bigger gap to these guys now. And meanwhile, we're also keeping an eye on this driver as well, Fair in the 51, just 4 laps away from what could be the championship.
He did give up that spot to Emma Carter, but he can afford that. He can afford to finish well behind that 6th position at this point in time. But the battle up front is for the win. Jared Polansky is no longer a factor. He's 6 seconds off the lead duo. But what a great run this has been. It could have been a win. It might have been a win, but it's not going to be a win for Jared Polansky at this stage of the race, because now we only have 3 laps to go, and Finguy and Martin are still dicing it up for the lead.
And again, as I said, Martin is still close, so if Finguy catches a corner wrong or something go wrong here as he went high there in the corner, no, Vargas is coming to pit road, so Vargas will get out of the fight. He will not be a factor in this fight.
Vargas
kind of a good move from Vargas to peel out of the way there and let these guys settle it between them.
Yeah, they're not going to catch Jason Parker, Stanley Andrews, and the rest. But Vargas peels off the pit, and we're coming to the white flag this time. J.D. Martin's opportunities are running out, especially now that Finguy's got a half-second lead. The white flag is out at Rockingham.
I think we're going to see a Finguy win. And how about this? Well, one car is primarily red, the other's red and white, but it's going to be, I guess, a red color day here at Rockingham.
Down the back straightaway for the final time, and it's going to be a really close battle for this win, but I think Jeffrey Finguy's got it covered through 3 and 4 for the final time. Jeffrey Finguy equals the record once again. His 12th career win ties him with Christian Vargas for the lead all time. He wins at Rockingham. But I think when Christian Vargas pulled down the pit lane, he was passing the torch on, because by finishing 7th today, at long last, Devon Fair's achieved his goal. He is your 2023 1UP Superstar Series champion after an incredible season that sees him pick up 4 wins. But I think this 7th place is going to mean more than all 4 of those wins put together.
Yeah, there's nothing like a championship. I say this as one who's going to patch the torch to the Truck Series, or who patched the torch to our current 2023 Truck Series champion this year, and there's no better feeling than winning a championship, no matter what the series is. And I'm sure Fair is that entire organization, that entire crew is going to go celebrate tonight. They're champions, and then all they have to do next week is go out there and try to win the race now, and put the complete exclamation point on this season.
How about that? Devon Fair, by finishing 7th in this race. It wasn't that 4th win in a row that I'm sure he wanted, but I'm sure nonetheless this will be a great day for him. He is your champion. And kudos to Jeffrey Finguy. He chased down J.D. Martin from 3 seconds back, took the lead with less than 10 to go, and stormed on to post a seconds margin victory himself. How about that from Rockingham? But from Ryan Griffin and from myself as well, we say goodbye from Rockingham. Next week, we'll see you for one last time in 2023 at Homestead Miami Speedway to wrap everything up. Who's going to get the last win of the season? Who's going to leave 2023 with some good momentum? We'll find out then. So long from Rockingham. Congrats to Jeffrey Finguy on the win, and a big congratulations goes out to our brand new 2023 1UP Superstar Series champion, the number 51 State Farm Toyota of Devon Fair and Revolution Racing.